All right, we are live for the Spinnin Backfist MMA show. It is Friday, or no, not Friday, Thursday, March 2nd. I got my days all confused, and I feel like Dave on the rundown here. We were just talking about our social media person, Lee, friend of the program. You've heard his voice if you've if you've listened for a while, and how he runs our Spinnin Backfist Twitter and sometimes gets reckless with it. He'll throw shots at fighters, and we're like, Lee, we're gonna get smacked by these guys.
He does, especially you, because you're like definitely the closest.
Some people assume that just like the Spinnin Backfist is me sometimes.
And you're the one that's probably closest to the fighters. Like you'll be at the events. Ev and I, we're kind of still like, if you were to compare to you, like we're still casuals in the sense of like, if a fighter were to assault us, they'd have to come to
us.
Yeah, they'd have to come. Yeah,
they'd have to be in our house. It'd have to be an away game for them. Yeah. Yeah, no, he doesn't get too bad with it, Lee, but every now and then I'll see one and I just wince a little bit. And I'm like, oh, I hope I don't get smacked for that. But
he does a great job.
He's the best in the biz.
Yeah, and I only get upset. I guess I don't worry about Robbie's well-being. I'm more just concerned about
that's fair.
People that I like, and I'm like, damn, like now you're talking shit to him. But no, I don't care.
No, he does a great job.
The one that got big this past weekend was me who tweeted it. Was from the countdown. I tweeted out the photo of Maurice Green, Jorgen De Castro, and Walt Harris, and I said, like, John Jones, I'm assembling the best team ever.
The Killers.
The team, or the Killers, the Killers. And it was like 50-50. Like, some people found it funny, and then some people were like, what are you talking about? This is a great team, which, I mean, it's not awful.
No.
But it's certainly not an American top team.
No, it's not. I mean, but also, what's the best like heavyweight team?
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's tough to find a lot of heavyweight bodies.
Yeah, that's true.
Goes into the card that we're going to be discussing, though. John Jones versus Cyril Gane, as he calls him. Cyril Gane. Ev's going. Ev's flying out to Vegas tomorrow. His first UFC card in Vegas, which is a pretty monumental event, and it's a great card. Too. Lee will be in Vegas. Yeah, is he going to the card?
Yeah, I think so.
Sick.
I think so.
Good for Lee. And at the end of this podcast, like at the end of our breakdown, we're going to throw over to an interview we did with Bo Nickal earlier in the week, actually last week. And it was a great interview with Bo, really cool guy, really down-to-earth, chill guy. We asked him about the infamous Roman Bravo young Micah Parsons story. Micah. I always called him Micah, and then I watched a game this season, and I was like, oh, fuck. I've been saying his name wrong the whole time.
I did not realize Jorgen was a Connecticut guy. So another L for Connecticut.
Oh, so yeah, you're throwing shots at your own guys now.
Friendly is Jorgen in PFL now?
He is.
Yeah.
Because he had one fight against Junior Dos Santos in Eagle FC, which is pretty much the fuck.
Oh, yeah. I saw, Chael was talking about that as well, because Chael was a little involved with Eagle FC, and then he said he just heard one day, like, Eagle FC isn't happening, and then it came back up, and like, oh, no, we're resuming events without Khabib. He was like, the guy that said that I've never heard of in my life.
I think they're going to just continue it in Russia and Europe.
Dagestan.
Makes sense.
I don't think they're coming to America anymore.
It makes sense, yeah. If Khabib's not running it, there's not much of a draw. Do you think Jorge Masvidal's company is going to take over that void? Not the MMA way, but...
That Bare Knuckle FC card in April...
Oh, the Luke Rockhold one they just announced?
That's a banger. Those are two banger
Shad
fights.
Mendez and Eddie Alvarez and Luke Rockhold and
Mike Perry.
Mike Perry. Mike Perry's going to knock him out.
You think?
I think Mike Perry's going to knock him out. Yeah.
He said Rockhold said he's getting paid a lot for it.
I believe it.
He said significantly more than he was his last UFC fight.
Wow, good for him.
I believe that. I don't know where the money comes from still.
Me either.
I think that Diddy might be like a shadow investor or something.
It is popular on social. Like,
is it?
They do well on YouTube, I noticed as well.
Okay.
Social.
So I don't know. And they do sell pay-per-views. I think, what is it, 20 or 30 maybe for the pay-per-view?
Yep. Which is a good price.
I have no idea what their numbers are like.
Yeah.
But to me, this is the first one that I truly would consider buying.
I bought the Greg Hardy one.
I probably will buy this one. I haven't bought one before.
I'll buy this one for sure.
Yeah, I'll probably watch this one. I'm more excited for the Masvidal event though.
Yeah, that one's gonna be awesome.
But that's real boxing.
That's boxing.
Yeah.
I just think the matchups on that card are awesome and like truly unexpected in a way where if I were to tell you, the viewers, Jorge Masvidal is putting on a boxing card, we would probably all have an idea of it in our heads that is not as good as the one he's actually.
No, not even close. I know he did a great job, and apparently the guys are really he was very confident. He's like, listen, the purses are gonna be like public knowledge.
Oh, nice.
And he was like very proud of he's like, they're getting paid a lot of money. Like it's not like they're not getting
Triller
chump change.
invested in a bunch last year. But does Triller have money?
I don't know if Triller has money anymore because
I have
didn't
no
Triller
clue.
also do Triad Combat?
They did.
Yeah,
That was
I
a
think
Triller
so.
production, right?
I think so.
And that
They
seems
were
to
doing
be
boxing.
defunct
They
now.
Triller
they did one. They did one of like Jake Paul's fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they
Didn't
sponsored
they
that
do-
Bryce Hall fight.
Did they do the that initial one that was the Mike Tyson Roy Jones
Yes.
one?
I think they did.
That was the Mike Tyson Roy Jones. That was the Jake Paul Nate Robinson.
Yeah, and there was like a musical performance in the middle of it.
There
Someone
was
came out- yeah.
like some rappers performed.
And then
Yeah.
Triller, I think, was really involved in that big time, like TikTokers versus YouTube. Bryce
They were,
Yes.
and it flopped
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
It flopped bad. I
We
don't think
watched
anybody
that.
got
It was the
paid.
same night as a UFC card we watched.
Yeah,
Leon
no one got-
Edwards and
no
Nate
one
Diaz
got-
card.
No one got. A lot of people didn't get paid.
Also, has Logan Paul got paid for the Floyd Mayweather fight yet?
He hasn't said. I would think probably not.
I was thinking about that this weekend because Floyd fought. Nobody talked about it. It's like at this point the tree falls.
Because he doesn't have to. He makes these deals. He doesn't have to advertise.
Doesn't advertise.
I mean, it's genius on his part. He gets paid $2 million to just like fuck around with like a legitimate tomato can.
Former Bellator fighter, former reality star. I think he beat his ass. I didn't even watch
That
the fight.
That fight happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think it was at the O2 or Wembley, and it looked like they legit had 1,000 people in like the 20,000 seat arena.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was really, really jarring to watch. Even knowing Floyd is doing that now, it was low. But I was thinking about that this weekend. Like, how is he continuing to do these exhibitions if he hasn't even paid Logan yet?
I mean, he's just getting
Maybe he
paid.
paid him like 50%. It was like, just shut up. Which is crazy. Why would you shut up?
Or
if
maybe
you
he's
didn't get
doing this
100%?
exhibition so he could pay Logan.
That's true.
Probably trying to fuck him.
Sometimes he'll just be fighting like in Japan at 2 a.m. and I'll
Yeah.
see tweets about it. I'm like, what?
Yeah. If a tree falls in the forest but doesn't make noise, whatever, that's Floyd Mayweather at this point. That's his legacy. Now, let's break down the UFC 285. I keep going to call it 284. 285 card before Ev has to go on Pick Central and we have to get into the Bo Nickal interview. This is a great card. I'm very excited for it. Ev, you've got to be very excited to be able to see it in person.
I'm so excited. I feel like I just had to see John Jones fight before he retired. I hope this is his last fight. I mean, I don't think it's going to be his last fight, but I'm always curious like if things go we'll get into it later, but if things go negative, that if it would actually be maybe his last fight.
Now we've got like 15 minutes before Pick Central. Do you want to just break down the main card for the people?
Well, yeah,
Does
sure.
that
We
make
can
the
do
most
that.
sense?
Do a little opposite, do a little bottom to top. Or top to bottom, I mean.
Top to bottom, start with Jones and Gone,
We can.
and then
we
end
can,
with
for
Bo,
sure.
and we could throw into his interview there.
We
So
can.
Jones and Gone, you texted us on this week, and you said you had an epiphany.
I did.
Let the people know
last
what
night I
epiphany
had-
you had.
Yesterday I had to, so I was watching. This is the God's honest truth. I was laying in bed. I was watching The Embedded, and I had been like leaning Jones already, but I wasn't like super like. I wasn't sure how much I was going to bet on it or if I was even going to bet it at all. And then I just had this moment. I swear to God, I just was like watching John Jones, and I was just so many things were going in my head of just like this dude, like he doesn't lose. He's never lost. He's big now. And people can kind of argue that does he look fat? Does he look like he's like just put out? I think I feel like with his frame, I feel like it would just be tough for him to just get like crazy jacked and put on like the weight he needs to. And I also think when you notice a lot of like the super jack guys, a lot of times their cardio isn't great.
Yeah.
But I just had this moment. I swear to God, it was like Jesus came down, like whispered on my ear, like tapped me on the shoulder. He was like, "Hey, like, don't overthink it. Like, John Jones doesn't lose. Like, just bet him and thank me Saturday night." So I'm betting John Jones. I'm probably betting him heavily. My real thought process is, like I said, he doesn't lose. My only I would say really my true only concern is that obviously like in the Dominic Reyes fight, which was his last fight, like he wasn't able to take him down. Or like, especially early on, he wasn't able to take him down. Dominic Reyes did a great job defending takedowns. But when I look at Cyril Gane, I'm betting on that Jones, one, his fight IQ, two, that he's put on enough weight and strength that he's gonna be able to take down Cyril Gane.
And Francis Grapple fucked him with no knees.
That's my biggest thing where I'm like, I just don't see it. Like, trust me, if Jones is not able to take him down, I'll be worried. I'll definitely be worried.
Yeah.
And I think we'll know that relatively early. But I just feel good about betting on like John Jones, like under -200. Like
You betting a money line? I see Logan in the chat betting
money
decision.
Because I think there's a good chance he doesn't finish him. Like I like decision on John Jones, but
so do I.
I'll probably just bet the money line. Maybe
I think Jones is going to win another decision here. I agree with you. I actually saw Jones's quote, and I thought it was a great quote. I hate the guy, but he said, when you look at Ciryl Gane versus Francis Ngannou, Francis outworked him. He goes, Francis isn't a guy who should be able to outwork you. He's the guy who wins fights with his power.
Agreed.
And the fact that that's who you got outworked by says a lot about you, Ciryl Gane. And I was like, coming from John Jones, coming from me, that means nothing. Coming from John Jones, I think that means a lot.
And I mean, who do you like in a 5-round fight? Like, who do you trust in the deeper rounds?
Of course, John Jones. Yeah,
like we saw Ciryl Gane just fold to just like wrestling to a guy that's not a wrestler, and like it's not like say like Francis kind of like recovery arc where like took a few years. He had the first teammate fight. He like really got to regroup, like come back. Like what is like we basically just watched him do that against Francis, and then just fight Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah,
who I love Tai Tuivasa, but if you think about it. Tai Tuivasa is probably his best win.
Yeah, it is. No,
like,
it is.
Like, and note, like, I'm not trying to disrespect Tai Tuivasa, but like, that is a guy who literally his only path to victory against Ciryl Gane is fighting into Ciryl Gane's strengths.
Yeah,
like you're gonna come. The only way is getting close. I don't know. I just feel like I'd just be surprised if Jones isn't able to win. Like I just think he's able to get it done.
Logan said the same thing that Chael's been saying. Ciryl hasn't faced a wrestler.
Chael's
been on a media tour saying that he hasn't faced a wrestler.
He fought one guy that could sort of wrestle, and he got wrestled.
Yeah,
I'm definitely really think I'm going to end up taking Gane.
Oh, really?
I know a lot of people that like Gane.
I also think we're capped. Like a lot of people are looking at John Jones as like a 2015 John Jones.
True.
The last John Jones we saw was not very good. Like, I mean, he was good. Don't get me wrong.
He was good, but not great.
He was good, but not great. He was not the John Jones we saw that we were like, holy shit, that no one's ever going to beat him.
Yeah.
That being said, that was 3 years ago, and he's at a different weight class, and he's going up against a guy that the reason I haven't placed a bet yet, and then also I'm waiting a little bit because I think the line's going to keep going in John Jones' favor, is that wrestling aspect. Because you're not wrong. I was big on Gane going to the Ngannou fight, but we also do a little bit of a revisionist history with the Ngannou fight. Like, he was one dumb fight IQ moment away from winning that fight. If he didn't get reversed when he was trying to do the ankle lock, he probably wins that fight 3-2. And also, he's going to have better striking than John. I also think he's younger.
Do you think his striking's better than John? No.
Yes.
Probably, yeah. Hand striking.
Just
I would
faster?
say for sure. Yeah, probably more technical. He hits harder.
And I also think that he brought in. I saw a tweet from a guy, Liam Picks Fights, who's a great follower. There's a great YouTube show too, if anybody wants to go follow him. And he was talking about who Ciryl Gane brought in to fight, to prep for this. It is like John was talking about it in the countdown, how he doesn't really have anybody in his fight. And he's like, but he did bring in a wrestler and a top tier jiu-jitsu guy. So I think that if this gets up to plus 150, which is almost there, plus 160, I'm definitely going to be on Gane. And I think it's worth a shot. The only thing is it just feels so lame to take Gane when it's John Jones returning. I wish I got in on John a little bit earlier, and then I could hedge a little bit with Gane. But I think I'm going to end up taking Gane. Yeah, I think but there's such a great chance that what Ab described is going to happen. What you described is going to happen. That being said, I mean, this is why we love the sport. It's like it's a top tier fight. And also Chael telling me like his last name being Gone.
Like, you can't bet on a guy named Gone.
It's
he was 1-1 in his last two.
Yeah.
He
like Ev was
too.
telling me, Ev was saying like he got tapped upon by the universe to say like, oh, like bet John. It's almost Chael sitting here and being like, me asking him what's wrong with his name. He's like, come on, his name's John. His name's Gone.
But Bo's coming up. Stay tuned. He's coming up very shortly. Stay tuned.
That being said, yeah, I'll be on Gone, but I mean, I can't blame anybody taking John. This is not like, oh my God, if you bet John, you're so dumb. Like, one of us will look smart, one of us won't. But I think it's one of those things that if they fought 10 times, it would be a different outcome every time. And it may be John Jones 8 out of 10 times or Gane 5 or 6 out of 10 times, but it's going to be a different outcome every time, I think. But John by decision definitely entices me.
I like that a lot. I bet Jones, Shevchenko, Bo Nickal parlay. That's my chalk parlay of the week. In the Shevchenko fight, I think she's going to have a lot easier time with Alexa Grasso than she did with Santos, but who knows? I thought she was going to run over Santos as well.
The over in this fight's good.
Yeah,
I don't like a. I mean, she's too big of a favorite.
I mean, nothing against Valentina.
This is just a setup for the Aaron Blanchfield fight.
Yeah, and then I'm all in on Aaron in that fight. Spoiler alert.
Welterweight, Jeff Neal versus Shavkat. This is a pretty great fight. Anticipated.
I think this line's a little bit wide, but I don't know if I'm going to bet Jeff Neal.
I feel like we're going to get like a maybe not quite the classic, but like almost like a Gilbert Hamzat type thing where it's like this is going to be the test, like how good is Jeff Neal?
Yeah,
and I think even or excuse me, how good is Shavkat? And I don't know if Jeff Neal's at the caliber that Gilbert Burns is at, but I think he's going to be able to last a little bit. The Shavkat's just so good. I mean, Jeff Neal hasn't really been. He has been finished, but I mean, he's been very good in the UFC. Like he's really only lost to like he lost to his Wonder Boy in like just a straight like striking battle, which is like a tough match to win. The only thing that scares me with him is that he lost to Magny with the wrestling, which is tough.
Especially
Shavkat just ragdolled.
Did you see the photos of Jeff Neal next to Magny and then Magny next to Shavkat?
I didn't.
Jeff Neal is very short.
When Shavkat stands next to Jeff Neal tomorrow,
he's so much bigger.
It's gonna be
huge.
It's gonna be insane.
Two different weight classes it'll look like.
Shavkat legitimately is like a legit 6'1", and Jeff Neal's legitimately like 5'9".
Yeah.
But Shavkat, I like a Shavkat round 2, round 3. I think Jeff could kind of stick around and then, but this is a great, like Ev said, it's a great barometer to see how good Shavkat is.
And then the next fight, one that was changed, we talked about it weeks ago, might have become a better fight. Gamrot versus Jalen Turner, the Tarantula.
Gamrot for the bag.
Yeah, I think Gamrot's just going to pressure the.
I almost feel bad for Jalen Turner because I think. I think he would have won.
He got a much harder fight.
He would have won the Hooker fight. This is a significantly harder fight.
This is the definition of matchups make fights,
and stylistically a way worse matchup for him. Like because I think the one thing that people keep pointing to, and it's what I'm pointing to, is that that Malarkey was able to hold him down pretty significantly. Yeah. And Gamrot's grappling is legitimately incredible.
Yeah,
we're talking about a guy that grappled was out grappling Sarukian. Are in like legit good battles, Sarukian, Beneil Dariush grappling, like very good exchanges. Like this is an elite grappler. Like if he's able to take him down, which I can't see why he wouldn't be able to, as long as he doesn't get like just start to like want to just trade with him hands,
get clipped,
which I don't think he will because I would hope he learned his lesson from. He did that with Beneil, and Beneil hit him like dropped him in the 3rd round, and Jalen just massive lightweight. So as long as he grapples, I think he wins like pretty easily.
And then speaking of great grapplers that should win pretty easily, Bo Nickal kicks off the card against Jamie Pickett. I think Bo Nickal is like a -1600, -1700 favorite, something like that.
It's like, yeah, I mean,
it's a sure thing at this point. We know it's going to happen, but we're excited to see it happen.
His line's crazy. I mean, honestly, he's almost somebody like if you want to just like say you're betting like college basketball that day, you want to just throw like if you want to just throw Bo on every single one and just like take your juice away.
Yeah.
Just make it like +100 instead of -110. Like you probably could do that.
Yeah.
I just don't see how he loses.
No, there's no
way. He'd have to like slip on a banana peel and break his leg.
I honestly think like Jamie Pickett has gotten out wrestled and taken down by like guys that
so much lesser than
like you can't even compare.
Guys that aren't like the greatest American wrestler.
It's like comparing.
Oh man,
it's comparing.
Did he lose to what's his name? Joe Holmes too.
Yeah,
Joseph
I think Joseph Holmes.
Like,
I think it's comparing like a JV quarterback, varsity quarterback to like a SEC quarterback. It's just you can't even
like a quarterback that's about to go like in the 1st round of the NFL draft.
And Bo is just I honestly like round 1 Bo Nickal by sub is
I think so too.
Is +110. It's almost like
those are great odds for that.
Yeah,
like
but it's like if you say it out loud, like take away all the names, like a sub round 1 plus 110 is a horrible line.
Yeah.
But with him, it's like, it almost like, how does it not happen?
I think it's worth taking a
because
shot on.
into me just watching his fights and seeing and how people talk about him, they say his submissions are incredible.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've even heard Jorge talk about other guys he trains with. They're like, the way he's able to pick up, like his jiu-jitsu coach was talking about, the way he's able to like pick up the submissions and just like the grappling aspect of it, like the jiu-jitsu side of it was like incredible.
Yeah, I am
just
just throwing out
like the fundamentals
experience.
for a wrestler that good. You learn the fundamentals of jiu-jitsu. Like look at Damian Maia's jiu-jitsu game over the years. Like he wasn't throwing crazy twisters in and crazy fucking leg locks. It was a lot of rear naked chokes and like simple chokes that you learn in the first day of class. You teach that to a guy like Bo Nickal. I mean, like it's over.
Great point by Joe. Jimmy Pickle was KO'd in 1 minute by Jordan Wright.
Yeah.
So it might be a KO as well. That's where you might.
I think he's going to go out there. I think he's going to shoot, and I think Bo knows he's on the pay-per-view.
That's good. Bo knows.
Bo knows.
Yeah.
People want him. Like he's on this to get a finish right away,
and a good call out. You know he'll get a good call out.
Yeah, and just be like, yeah, and man,
he's already saying he wants Hamzat at Raider Stadium.
Cody Garbrandt is on the prelims. I like him. I think he's going to look like the old Cody Garbrandt. But
I've heard that before.
But because Trevin Jones just said,
Trevin Jones isn't good, but
I think he's going to knock out Cody Garbrandt.
I have the balls. I have the balls.
Considering he needs to land one shot, I'll take a plus 140 by KO.
Yeah.
Actually, no, plus 140 is his money line. I'll probably just take his KO because I think it's
just take the KO.
I think he's probably KO or bust.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like Cody by decision in that because I think it could end up Trevin Jones fights end up being just a staring contest here and there. It could be with Cody knowing that his chin's kind of gone. Just be like, all right.
They're both just like hesitant to
fight, and then it's like a close decision. So plus 450. But yeah, and then
any other quick?
I like Duplessis.
Oh yeah,
I think it's a big line. I know it's a bit like he's bonds like 240, but I think he wins.
Drissis, I breathe African air. Duplessis.
Brunson's just like he's just getting older. I think his like he did have a nice little run before that loss, but I don't know.
Oh, Ian Gary's on this card too. Worth
Ian Gary should like win by
former Spinnin Backfist member.
Did you see him with his kid?
No,
he brought his kid to meet the guy he's fighting. Ultimate and Magic pointed out. Ultimate mental warfare.
Mind 100%.
Like, yeah, this is my
because
son.
He, like Magic was like, you
baby.
train for 12 weeks, you cut weight to fight this guy. It's probably like your last chance in the UFC. And then this guy who took his wife's last name just comes up to you with his baby and is like, "Hey, yeah, how you doing, man?" Like, and you know, Ian Gary's like the nicest guy in the world. It's like, "Yeah, this is my kid.
This is
my cute ass baby."
Yeah, you're trying to take food out of his mouth.
Yeah. Shout out Ian Gary though. I'll be rooting for him this weekend.
And then there's
I like who else did I like on the cards? There was a
Julian Marquez fight. What do you think about that?
That's a decent fight. Mark Andre got a little too wide for me, but I do kind of like the over in that fight. Because the over 2.5 is priced at like plus 140, plus 150. The only thing is Julian Marquez usually gets finished or finishes right away.
Bless you.
But Mark Andre does have like within his UFC history has been, he kind of goes to the decision a lot, so you could get that, but that could be one that just
the one I like the opener, the Ribovics. He's a big dog and he's had some like weird. I don't know if his competition level is great, but
the Argentinian, right?
I would take a shot at him at plus like 220. He's been pretty dominant. I don't think the Radzivok's very good. He's pretty durable. That's the only part that would.
He's like a journeyman. No disrespect.
He's fought. He didn't have a lot of success in the PFL. He lost some guys like Alex Martinez. PFL was like not great. He did beat him as well. They're like 1-1 against each other, but
he's fought in like every promotion ever.
Yeah, Ribovics he's greens, but I mean, he's pretty talented. So I would take a shot on.
And then
220. I don't mind Mana as well. Big Stooley.
Yeah, right? I don't hate.
I don't mind him as well. Like he's got
big fan of Spider.
He's got a lot of experience. Like Cameron Simon's only fought once in the UFC. It was against a guy who was making his debut. He was definitely winning, but he also landed a weird illegal knee.
Yeah,
that kind of like changed. Like he was winning, but it made it go from like competitive to just like this guy clearly was damaged badly because of this knee.
Yeah.
So I don't hate taking a shot at Martinez as well as a big. I think both like Ribovics plus like 220. I think Martinez is like. Plus like 240, 250. So I don't mind them as like dog shots.
And Mana goes for it. He's go out there.
That's why they're in like Ribovics from his fighting style. He seems to go for it. So I'm willing to take shots on guys like that that I think are at least gonna like they're gonna go after it for you.
And then Simon is a guy that kind of blocks every punch with his face, which it may not hurt him here. He's definitely really talented, but I think Mon is a guy that does have the ability to shut his lights off or get just like, hurt him, get on top, and then boom, you finish. And then there's some woman fights on the card.
That was a nice correction.
Yes, that was fucked up by me.
Sorry, I have to go, man.
Yeah, you got pick central.
Vivian Araujo against Amanda Ribas. I kind of like Amanda there.
So do I.
And then Tabitha Ricci, the baby shark.
Yep.
Jessica Penne. That's kind of like I like Tabitha, but she's minus 315.
I actually don't hate Penne in that fight.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of love for her. The only thing
UFC vet, a lot of experience.
She's 43.
Oh, she's that old? Yeah. No offense. I didn't mean
no. I'm from a
athletic standpoint.
I didn't
even think that because she looks so good.
Exactly.
See what I did there?
Ian Gary, I think we've actually gone over everything except the only thing
Shavkat and Bo round 1 wins plus 315. Good value. That is pretty good value, Rand.
The only thing is, Rand, I think Jeff could survive.
I think so too. Yeah, he's a tough motherfucker.
I like the way you said that. He's a tough motherfucker.
Tough motherfucker. Respect.
Dricus Duplessis, did you see his comments about he's the real African?
No.
Oh, he's South African.
Okay.
But he was saying me and Cameron Simon are like the real Africans of the UFC. We breathe African air every day, and that was obviously a shot at Kamaru, Israel, and Ngannou, who
rep
don't
for their countries but don't live there.
Yes, and he said
it's an interesting thing. We see that from like fighters from all over.
Yes, I just stood away from it because I was like, I don't want to.
I know that's a touchy thing to. Yeah,
some people were like, it's definitely the biggest.
She's 40. She's not 43.
Okay, she's 40.
That's a bit of a difference.
100%. Those 3 years.
Big 3 years.
Yeah.
Big 3 years.
In athletic
disrespect.
We're talking
no
athletic.
Disrespect. No, listen, we're going to throw over to the Bo Nickal interview before the two of us get canceled without Ev here. I don't know.
No. I'm not pulling a Don Lemon. If she was working at Barstool, those 3 years would mean nothing.
Nothing.
But in athletic peak, any guy, unless you're a heavyweight, those 3 years are a lot.
If you're a heavyweight, yeah, you could fight till you're 53.
Andre Arlovsky.
Fact.
Yeah.
Andre Arlovsky's 84. And he'll be fighting for another 20 years.
I was watching. We were watching the Glover Teixeira fight with Ebo, and he was like, "Teixeira has that many fights. That must be the most fights in the history of heavyweights." I was like, "Brother,
like, buddy,
you got some. Let me tell you some UFC records to look up."
Yeah. All right, let's throw it over to Bo Nickal. This was a great interview. Thank you to Bo for joining it, and good luck to Bo this weekend. His UFC pay-per-view debut against Jamie Pickett, who said he doesn't know who Bo Nickal is. He should probably do his research.
And Jamie said, I am the test.
Yeah.
Which that's good fight building or whatever. Fight promoting.
Finally making that UFC. All right, welcome back to the Spinnin Backfist MMA show. It is Robbie, it is Jack Mack, it is Big Ev, and it is Bo Nickal, one of the greatest American wrestlers of all time. And he will be fighting on March 4th, finally making that UFC pay-per-view debut on a John Jones card too. Such a big card, such a big event. Bo, how you doing?
Doing great. Been a long camp, so 12 weeks, and now just time to get the weight down and get ready to fight. So I'm super excited.
Are you in Vegas already or no?
No, I'll head out Sunday. So I'm in State College right now, PA, but be in Vegas here in a couple of days.
Nice. And you mentioned the long camp, 12 weeks. What is that like when you have to have a camp that long? Do you pace it differently? Do you strategize differently?
Yeah, I think that for me, this was new territory. I'm not usually prepping this long for anything. When I was wrestling in college and whatnot, it was every single weekend you're on the mat. So, having such a long time to prep for one opponent was very interesting, but I got a good team around me between American Top Team and Sam Calavita with the training lab. I have a lot of support and a lot of people that have a ton of experience. So, I was leaning on them heavily, and yeah, overall, just a lot of training, a lot of intensity, a lot of focus. And the last couple of weeks just been tapering down, getting where I need to be, getting my mind right.
Do you train at the American Top Team out at State College?
Yeah. So I I actually kind of basically the way that this gym was built was my manager Makikawa and myself had an idea to put a gym in State College, and so we reached out to Dan Lambert and decided that ATT was going to be a great partner in kind of starting a gym out here in conjunction with myself and with Penn State Wrestling. And so August of what would have been 21, we finished the gym building out, and then I had my first fight shortly after that.
Oh, that's
awesome.
really
awesome. You got to be like the first fighter to do something like that, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that now that I've done it, I'm sure that other people are going to try to copy that and do that, especially with other high level wrestling areas, or maybe, partner with colleges, things like that. So yeah, kind of my mindset going in was, I was either going to move to California, move to Florida, or, have to find a place to train. And I really didn't want to leave State College because this is home for me. And I love the people around me. I love my wrestling base and all my coaches and teammates here. So just my mindset was, let's see how we can do it. If we can build a facility out here. And fortunately, Dan Lambert and ATT, they were just as excited about it as I was, being able to kind of partner up with the wrestling base that we have out here. And obviously they have so many high level MMA guys. It made a lot of sense.
With your influence in building the gym out there, how many guys at this point would you say are like going from Penn State Wrestling into MMA?
Yeah, we have a ton. Obviously myself, I was the first one. And we have Anthony Cassar, who made his pro debut in December. He was, national champ for Penn State in 2019. He'll be having his second pro fight here at the end of March. We actually have another pro fighter in the gym right now currently who was a national champion boxer for Penn State. So we have a high level boxer in the gym, and then I see quite a few guys on the team right now that are interested in fighting once they're done wrestling, but they obviously still have NCAA and Olympic aspirations. But once they're finished, guys like Roman Bravo Young, Carter Strachey, Aaron Brooks, Greg Kirkfleet, all guys who are, at national champions, multiple time national champions. Those guys are all interested in transitioning over. So, we'll have a place for them as soon as they want to start fighting. It'll be a seamless transition.
Do you think that Penn State will use that as a recruiting tool? I mean, obviously it's not that hard to recruit to the powerhouse that is Penn State as a wrestling school. And then of course, I mean, it's an amazing college in of itself, but do you think that could potentially be used? Obviously Dan Lambert may not like that because he's a massive Miami guy, but who knows?
Miami doesn't have NCAA wrestling. So, I think Dan's a big supporter of Penn State, and yeah, we're absolutely using that as a recruiting tool. Any guys that are coming out of high school that are interested in fighting, it obviously makes a ton of sense to come to Penn State, not only for all of the support and resources you get wrestling wise, best coaches, best training partners in the country, best fans in the country. You also have an awesome transition into MMA, and something that, I'll do my best to make as easy on all the guys as possible. For me, being the first guy to do this, there's a big learning curve, and I'm kind of trailblazing this in a sense where there's a lot that goes into it that I don't know, and that I'm still learning. And hopefully by the time I have my career up and running to the place that I want it to be, then I'll be able to kind of have a path and a way that these guys can kind of follow, and just make it easier on them to where they can achieve, even more than me, and be set up even better than me. So that's my goal, with the gym and everything that we're doing here, is just to have absolute domination of the sport. And I think we can do that with the athletes that we have, the guys, their mindset, and, coming out of a program like Penn State, it just makes so much sense. And having that partnership, it absolutely, I think, is a huge recruiting tool.
We had Roman on the show a couple months ago, and we talked about this infamous story with Parsons. I think you commented on it as well. We just wanted to get your kind of account and side of that whole story.
Well, which one specifically? Because we hang out with Micah a decent amount. He's a good dude. So I'm sure you're probably talking about wrestling in the wrestling room or something like that.
He said that he took Micah down. We've seen the video that you took him down. He said that he took him down once, and then he admitted he did run away after and only went one shot, and he beat him. But I'm not sure if we mentioned if you were there or not. We wanted to get your confirmation if that is he 100% took Micah Parsons down.
That's confirmed 100%.
Wow, nice.
I got two, but Yeah, Micah's a great dude. Love having him in the wrestling room, and he was just at a match, the Iowa match the other day, so ton of support from him, which is really cool just to have one of the best players in the NFL supporting your program and whatnot. But yeah, kind of a cool like family environment we got going out here.
He kind of took a shot at Barstool, which is all good, right? It's all fun and love and war, right? But I wanted to get your perspective on just the MMA media in general. What's your outlook on MMA media and where you see it going forward as a guy who's putting your own toes into the content game now?
Overall, MMA media, there's a lot of guys that are doing a lot of really, really good things, and they're doing a really good job. I always think that it's important to have a good relationship with the media, and their support has always been something that I think is integral to sports in general, just because you want people to be paying attention to what you're doing, and the real only way to do that is through media nowadays. And so my experience with the MMA media, I would say, has overall been very, very positive. A lot of people that are just passionate about the sport, that's something that's really important to me. I think like you get a sense of whether or not somebody's actually passionate about what they're talking to you about, like right away. And I'm not really like, it's not really fun for me or interesting to me to do interviews when it's just like, all right, I can tell this guy's like got to do an interview with me. But like for somebody that's passionate about the sport, that is really interested, that asks like interesting questions that I can tell they actually want to know the answer to, that's what I enjoy. And that's like I said, there's a lot of people that are doing that in the space nowadays. And I think where MMA is as a sport right now, it's just going to continue to increase exponentially the reach and how many people are watching. And I mean, we're really only 25 years into this, which is pretty crazy, but I see MMA in the future probably being the number one sport, not only in United States, but like in the world, just because I think people identify with it pretty heavily.
And then on the other side, the wrestling side, we've got one of our own, Jersey Jerry, trying to grow the sport of wrestling. What can be done to grow the sport of wrestling, in your opinion? What has to be done to grow the sport of wrestling?
Wrestling is really interesting because I think that when you get into wrestling and start watching it, you're hooked, right? Similar to MMA, but I think even more so because the culture's so tight knit and it's very, very prideful almost. Like people are really proud to be wrestlers, to be wrestling fans, just to be involved in the sport. And so I think to keep pushing it in the right direction, we just need to highlight the personalities of guys. And like I really think like when I look at I guess sports in general and what different sports are doing in the media space, I think a couple really good examples are like the Formula One series on Netflix or the Cheer series on Netflix. Like all of a sudden those sports are blowing up like crazy. Like I'm 100% certain if you had a series from when I was a freshman in college through my senior year and you just followed the Penn State wrestling program, it would like blow up like crazy if you put it together like that. And so I just think we need more people that want to pour into the sport in that sense, because cheer and Formula One aren't really like crazy big sports, but there's so many interesting storylines and intricate things happening within all the competition that it just becomes interesting to follow. And wrestling is the same way. So I just think that highlighting individuals, highlighting teams, highlighting what goes on in the span of a season, if a common person that maybe wasn't even a fan of the sport could see all that, like they would be hooked. So I think that there just needs to be a way to get that out and for people to see, and more of a way that's personal versus just seeing people compete.
Yeah, I mean, where would UFC be today without the Ultimate Fighter? And we may not know. We don't know that universe. Are you excited to watch Jake fight this weekend? I mean, not probably, but I wanted to ask you, have you guys sparred at all? I know he's a little bit bigger, but has he taught you anything from a boxing realm? I mean, he's obviously a media superstar, and now he's turning into a boxing superstar. He's already there, but we were talking about him on our show this morning.
Yeah, I'm absolutely super pumped for the fight. It's going to be an awesome fight. Definitely exciting to see like two young, fit dudes who it's just a lot of attention's on this fight. Like anytime you get attention like this on a fight, it's exciting. So, I think it's going to be a battle. Obviously, I think Jake's going to come out with the dub. But as far as like advice and working together and stuff, we haven't been fortunate. I've been in my training camp, he's been in his training camp, while the deal with Better has been happening and whatnot. So we haven't been able to train together. We talked on FaceTime for a little bit, but I'm sure we're gonna get some sessions in the future. I'm gonna obviously would love to learn some boxing from him, and I think he wants to take an MMA fight with the PFL, so I'll be able to help him out in that arena as well.
Yeah, he was a wrestler, so I mean, you could probably teach him a thing or two.
Right, no doubt. Yeah, I think it'll be. He'll having a wrestling background and wrestling as a kid, he'll probably honestly be a better MMA fighter than a boxer.
Yeah, having that background. I actually just saw, speaking of wrestling, your pin over, I think it was Miles Martin, was going around on Twitter once again, and someone called it one of the greatest pins in wrestling history. What do you have a favorite pin in your whole career?
Well, that one's hard to beat, just with the circumstance and him being a quote unquote rival of mine, having so much history with each other and the history between Penn State, Ohio State. It was really, that one's hard to beat. Just when you look back at that season in 2018, there was like, you could literally do a 30 for 30 just on that season. It would be insane because of how stacked Ohio State was, how many, guys they had that were, I think they had like 3 4-time All-Americans that year, like multiple time national champions, like it was just crazy how good their team was. And for us, I think being the dominant powerhouse of the last decade and everybody wanting to see us go down, it was like they put an all-star team together to try to beat us, getting Joey McKenna into transfer and kind of just like the way that it went, it was like everybody coming for us and the Kings reigned supreme. We beat down when it mattered most. And to be able to there were so many people that put work into that and did their job but to be able to kind of put an exclamation point on it myself was such an awesome feeling. And I was just grateful to do that for the Penn State fans, for my coaches, for my teammates. And that one I don't think will be beat for me personally.
At the beginning of that, you said Miles Martin was your quote unquote rival. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like a little of my instinct would tell me you didn't love that people even consider him your rival.
I think about this sometimes now, and I think you kind of need a rival in order to hit the upper echelon of the sport in a not necessarily in like a, well, I guess in a competitive sense, really, because you need to be pushed, but also in a sense of attention and who's going to watch you compete and stuff like that, right? Like if you look at guys that had a rival, that just kind of elevates their status almost. Jones and DC had each other. Conor McGregor had Aldo, then he had Khabib. Like you just kind of need a rival to elevate everybody's game. And so for me, like I say quote unquote because it was a 10-2 series between us. Like, it wasn't really overall like that competitive, but he was the only guy to beat me multiple times in my career. And obviously a super talented, super skilled guy. So I had nothing but respect for him, but he definitely motivated me and made me want to just be the best I could.
I asked because I noticed you use, not even just in this interview, but other ones I watched you, I noticed you use the word dominate a lot. So I was thinking that I know, like, I feel like that's like a big word for you. Are you someone who like, say like, for example, like this fight, you're going, obviously you're a big favorite, but regardless, like say, obviously as you move on, it's going to get harder and harder, but are you someone who like, if you just like win the fight and say you didn't perform as well, is that going to bother you? Or are you just like win, like you win, move on kind of thing?
No. For me, the standard is my best, right? So, I like to focus on my effort, focus on my attitude, things like that, where if I feel I gave my best effort out there and I did absolutely everything I could do to win and I come up short and I lost, I'm more okay with doing that than having a competition or a fight where I gave less than I feel I'm capable of and won, So, for me, the standard is dominating. And I feel like, my goal is to be the pound for pound number one guy on the planet. That means not only will I be the best, but if the number 2 guy is standing across from me, that I expect to smash that dude. I expect to beat him in every aspect of my sport and dominate from start to finish. So that's just kind of the standard that I hold for myself. That's what I hold my training to and the people around me and everything that goes into it. So yeah, I think that's just kind of how I live my life.
How much does the 0 in your record mean to you?
You know, again, like it's important. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, it doesn't mean anything. Um, I feel like, again, it's about my effort, and I think that with that being said, if my effort's there, if I do everything I need to do and everything that I'm capable of, then I don't feel like there's a guy that can beat me. So I expect to be undefeated. I expect to have a long career and win multiple titles, multiple belts, defend a bunch of times, and beat all of the best guys. And I don't ever expect to lose, because I just don't think that there's anybody out there that puts what I put into the sport, and then who is able to be as consistent mentally, physically, spiritually, in every way as I am. So, you know, it definitely means something, but it also, like, at the end of the day, it's about my effort. So if somebody goes out there and proves me wrong and beats me in a fight, then that's just something that I have to deal with and move forward and get better from.
Were you disappointed when Dana made you come back and fight for another time on the Dana White's Contender Series, or did you see how that could have been, at least how we read it, was a little bit more of a promotion of yourself than it was, oh, we don't think he's ready?
Yeah, I don't think there was any slight at all in that sense. You know, for me, it was exciting because I got an opportunity to fight again. You know, I had last year had like months and months go by where I wanted to fight, and you know, things fell through, couldn't get an opponent, this or that. And so him saying, we want to bring you back, we want you to fight again in 8 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it was, I'm like, let's freaking go. That's exciting, because I love to compete, I love to fight. And that was it definitely helped, I think, build kind of my reputation, my aura, the story, and everything. Just being able to compete twice on there and dominate the way I did, and finish both opponents very quickly, I think has added a lot of value to you know, where I'm at now, and what the public thinks moving forward. Kind of the interest has built for this next fight. And so, you know, overall for me, the best part was just getting to compete again. And you know, I think there was a lot of other positives that came out of that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I saw your interview with Ariel this week where you said you were watching a lot of film ahead of this upcoming fight and that you like to watch a lot of film. Does that go back to your college wrestling days? Did you watch a lot of film in college?
So I started watching film on wrestling as like probably when I was like 7. So my dad got me this little, like, it was like a DVD series where it had the best Olympic trials and world team trials finals matches, and there was like probably 100 matches on these DVDs, and I would watch them over and over and over again. And as soon as like matches started getting posted on Flow Wrestling and YouTube, I was like all over it, watching. And so, you know, for me, I've always studied a ton of film, and I think that's something that really has helped me progress quicker. I'm able to learn that way, and kind of see techniques, and be able to emulate them, and kind of go out there and also, you know, see things that kind of help me be creative, and deciding, you know, what style I want to have and whatnot. But through college, I would say I did watch a good amount of film. You're just competing so much. It doesn't make sense to watch like an hour of film on every single guy, especially because you wrestle them so many times. Like I wrestled Miles Martin literally like 10 or 12 times. So, you know, I kind of know what I'm getting after a few of those. But I did watch a lot of film for like people that I thought were good, that I'm like, okay, I liked what this guy's doing. I'm going to watch him. I'm going to study him. I'm going to see how he's doing, what he's doing. And so it was a little different in that I think, watching to improve my own game, and I didn't really study my opponent's game. But now I think I do both, right? Like I watch a lot of fights for myself, and of course, if I'm fighting one guy and I have 12 weeks to prepare, I'm going to watch a ton of film on him as well.
Is there a guy that you've been watching recently that you're trying to emulate, or you're like, wow, he is, obviously there's a billion guys in the MMA world right now, but anybody that really sticks out?
You know, there's a lot of guys I watch. You know, I watch a lot of John Jones. You know, definitely excited to be on the same card as him. I think that he's pretty electric, and especially early in his career was finishing a lot of guys in exciting, creative ways, which I think is cool. I mean, I watch Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the most dominant athletes to ever come through the sport. And I think that the way he dominated and controlled guys and put the pressure on guys is something that, you know, I want to be able to do as well. I watch Islam Makhachev. I watch Alexander Volkanovski. Just watched their fight a couple times, and you know, obviously 2 really high level guys. So, guys like that, guys that I think are just able to fight in a way that's more of a thoughtful and I guess skillful way versus guys that just go out there and brawl. For me, I think I understand the entertainment value of going out there and brawling, but I want to fight strategically and in a way where that's intelligent and to make sure that I'm in the advantage at all times possible while I'm competing.
Well, we're looking forward to the upcoming fight. We're rooting for you. Thank you for all the time. And best of luck once you get out there. Safe travels and everything. First time fighting in Vegas in front of a crowd like that. It's going to be amazing.
No doubt. I'm super pumped. But yeah, appreciate y'all having me on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.